In the spirit and tradition and commitment of all faiths of the world, of all peoples, I call you to prayer. God in heaven, we thank you for the blessing of these young people, for their courage and brilliance through a challenge. We also thank you for this day that is a celebration of their experience. We thank you for the years in their company and the promise of their tomorrow. Always, always a gift to us and a blessing. Amen.
Seniors, please be seated. Everyone else also. And as a housekeeping gesture, now that you're in your family pods, feel free to remove your masks. I'm going to remind the seniors that when you come up for your diplomas, or if you're honored with a prize, please come up without a mask. We'd prefer pictures without masks. It's not on the program. Okay. Do we have a... Is he expecting to play? We're making it up as we go along. Marcus is ready. Please rise. Now you may be seated again. Couple of housekeeping details. It's a hard thing to address all the members of the class of 2021 unless I'm doing this all the time and then I'm ignoring you people out here. So I'm going to stare at the camera, imagining I'm staring at all of you. So if you stare at the screens, we'll have this eye contact, which is sort of cyber wonderful, and we'll be okay. And I won't feel as though I'm ignoring anybody. Class of 21 and honored guests, good morning to the 153rd commencement exercises of the Petty School, the celebration of your class, and on behalf of the faculty who wishes they could be sitting with you, but thinks it's more important that your family sit with you, and I agree. On behalf of all of us, we could not be happier to be here with you this morning, and we keep in mind the few of you who cannot be here today and are watching remotely, but you've been a terrific class and we're happy to be at your celebration, so thank you very much. There are many people to thank for today, and you'll be glad to know that I won't be reading the list because that would take most of the assembly. I will just mention, first of all, we thank you and your family for this class itself. And I want to offer a special welcome, as I said, to all of the families who are joining us remotely and all of the guests who are joining us remotely, because there are a lot of underclassmen watching this ceremony because your class means a lot to them. I want to thank the admissions office that admitted you and the teachers who have taught, advised, coached, and in general walked both ahead of and with you through your experience here. The Petty Food Service that has fed you in all kinds of conditions over the past 15 months and over your 4 years. The Building Services Department, who have been up early the past 2 days, they're up early every day, but especially the past 2 days, actually squeegeeing the grass so that we could use it. I've never known grass to be squeegeed. The security team that has been available at any hour when you needed them, apparently except when my car was the target. I'm not looking to place any blame, you know. That's a joke. The Health Center and Counseling Office, who have been ready for you whenever you needed them. The Alumni and Development Office, who has helped you to connect to and learn from alumni and helped keep your parents connected and informed and welcomes you after this ceremony to that membership. And to the Marketing and Communications Office, who told your story in many places to highlight your success. And finally, to the Board of Trustees, our most committed volunteers, whose stewardship of Petty protects us from the most unexpected eventualities and keeps us safe, and has certainly done that over the past 15 months. So for all of them, thank you. Seniors. This has been the hardest speech of my life to write. I've been thinking for a long time about what to say. Metaphors have usually helped me, but I haven't been able to find a metaphor to describe your class's experience. There is a temptation these days to see everything through the lens of the pandemic and the separation and sorrow it has brought, but such a narrow lens discounts important other contexts of the last 4 years. And that lens, that narrow lens of the pandemic, takes the focus off of where it should be, which is you. Nevertheless, you have lived through the stress of a nation trying to become a more perfect union, but hindered by political divide, and by the sometimes destructive discourse of that divide. But today is about the magic you created in the midst of all of those challenges. The magic you created in the midst of confusion, in the midst of illness, but also the magic you created in the midst of what is perhaps a new dawn. Two memorable lines did seem to frame your years at Petty for me. The first is from Heraclitus, a 4th century BC philosopher known for his oracular metaphors. And the one I chose, which is probably his most famous, which is why I know about it, I'm not a Heraclitus scholar, is this: no person ever steps into the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and you are not the same person. In that metaphor, he compared community to a river, and citizens to waders in that river. It seems that nothing is constant, neither the wader nor the river. And indeed Heraclitus, or what scholars write about his views because only bits of his work survive, Heraclitus believed that change was possibly the constant force in our lives. The second, from Hamlet, is this familiar quote from Polonius speaking to Laertes: "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not be false to any man." Hence, here the comparison is between sincerity as the inevitable characteristic of those who are true to their consciences and the unstoppable passage of time. Astride those observations stands the Petty class of 2021. You have grown as the world has changed around you. At the same time, those changes have challenged you to be yourselves authentically in a very different context than you imagined. Perhaps more so than this year, what E.E. Cummings said about adolescence rings true, and what he said was that it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. So Heraclitus touches on what we all know about your 4 years. So much has changed about both the wader and the river, more so for you than most Petty classes. And Shakespeare reminds me of the fact that because you did not let cynicism and indecision of the year infect your belief, but in fact took the responsibility to make every enterprise of which you are better, that was the theme that you brought to Heraclitus's challenge. So to go back to phrase, for it's not the same river and you're not the same person. Let's talk about change. I'm thinking this morning of another morning most of you arrived 4 years ago. You were younger, mostly shorter, a little nervous, a little uncertain. You were at once inexperienced and excited about the next 4 years. I remember the screams of welcome down by Geiger Reeves on that sunny day from your POCO leaders as you first stepped into this new river and the events of that weekend. Looking at you now and over the past couple of days, I see mostly faces I remember, added, increased, and improved by a few, matured into young adulthood, but unlike many other classes, also tempered and disciplined by the experience of the pandemic and a state of vigorous political differences. You are not the same people who stepped into the Petty River in September 2017. That we are here today is an accomplishment, a reward, and proof of how much you have grown. Your diploma is an individual accomplishment for sure, but your commencement is also a group accomplishment. Now older, variously taller, certainly wiser, consider how you developed a class identity in strong community with each other. You are the first senior class to have worked with class deans all 4 years, and the first to have Thursday-only family-style dinners and regular advisee dinners. That structure encouraged you to see each year as a progression from one to the next, each with a different kind of role for you. From the metaphysical excitement and adventure of humanities to the collaboration and open-ended inquiry of MPS, go MPS, you then jumped into the sophomore year as experienced Petty veterans, returning older and wiser into a different experience of your sophomore year. How many of you would have said that you were the same even 1 year later as you began in earnest to put your mark on Petty? In the irregular journal I keep of chapel reflections, I noted several chapels from your freshman year. For example, a chapel by 3 of the 5 Harrises, a rousing choral performance by a visiting choir, and a speech by the president of the student body at Princeton University on Martin Luther King Day your freshman year. The chapels at which we mourned Malcolm Baldwin. The speeches of Tyrese Thomas and Nina Narayan, who also spoke about Petty as a river, with each of us as a different eddy within that current. Yes, Nina, I remember that speech. And they talked about their growth to a chapel audience in which you were the freshman class. These were messages that talked about each student's journey and how their understanding and perspectives had changed with knowledge and experience, but also with support from their friends and their faculty. I think you heard these messages. I think that's why we had a successful 4 years. Sophomore year was less tumultuous. You exerted yourselves on the field, on stage, and in student government, charting a course towards the Petty that you imagined for your class as seniors. Strangely, looking back, it seems to me now as if you already knew your junior year would be unusual, and you were looking past it for your senior year, or perhaps that's just the optimist in me. A highlight of that year was that afternoon at Blair and the historic tie. One of the great days I remember because that day was so hard fought, and it was a brilliant afternoon. You do have a Blair record that is unmatched. 1 win, 2 ties, and the first, and we hope only, virtual Blair Day. And while some people in other parts of the state contest this year's virtual non-trophy competition, what is certain is that you can say you never lost the cup. You brought Aladdin alive. You were a part of 1776. You made War of the Worlds and High School Musical remotely, which was magic by itself, and brought theater outside in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Your FRC team, or the FRC team many of you joined in your junior year, enjoyed a final victorious pre-pandemic appearance and awaits the coming year for reactivity. Your junior spring was the coalescence of several challenges. Physically separate from campus, you accepted the transfer of power from the class of 2020 without ceremony, but with determination. Soon after classes ended, the country's focus was drawn to a summer of protest and calls for action. Separated, still in the midst of the pandemic, several of your members helped organize and successfully host the extraordinary 12 Hours of Action almost a year ago, June 6th. And your awareness and civic impatience has continued this year. Some of you worked with Ms. Rogers to establish the first Student DEI Council And one of your legacies is also to have helped bring structure and focus to Petty's work for equity and inclusion, a part of striving for the highest quality of citizenship. This fall, others helped lead the way with the presentations and debates leading through another contentious election race with grace, with balance, and with serious preparation. As a group, you balanced the challenge of your classes, growing engagement in and awareness of your opportunities, and leadership of school life. You learned how to do many community things differently, from chapel to advisor meetings. You were great at wearing masks and pretty good at social distancing. But the best news was that you set the tone, or enough of a tone, that health and safety concerns were actually minimal. You practiced some spring sports in the fall, which we've never done before. You performed together virtually. You spread all over campus in your online weeks. You grabbed and went at meals. You jumped into the game of dorms after the first big snowfall. You came to chapel from wherever you were and maintained community as best you could from across the country and around the world. Familiar routines, which are the mainstay of secondary school life, were suspended, and you recreated your own personal routines to fit the month's changing guidelines and to balance the immediate with the foreseeable, which was all we really could do. When spring term came, most of the adults were eager to return to being together. That's this spring term. But when you showed up, we sensed some of you were already too eager for the year to end. The long winter months had taken a toll, and many of you seemed resigned rather than eager, and we understood. Life these past several months has sometimes felt like walking through a fog. And if you had persisted in that feeling, however, this spring would have looked and felt very different as we stumbled ahead. Instead, you gradually returned to the optimism that had become part of your class ethos. With warmer weather and declining infection rates, eventually, you began to think there might be a way to recapture the all-in adventure of your final term. Meanwhile, at the same time, the river, Petty, changes all the time. There has been physical change during your time here. The campus features new, redesigned spots, Armelino Quad, the grill, the dean's offices, the smaller design lab, the senior lounge, and the college office all changed significantly. And we got wooden courts for the first time in the Graham Athletic Center. And you recently helped chart the future. Just 2 weeks ago, you celebrated the groundbreaking for a fabulous new arts facility. Not all the change has been physical. The school community attitudes have changed also. Because, and here's where Heraclitus reveals that he had not been to Petty, you are both the waiter and the river. The school changes because you helped change it. That is probably the most remarkable part of Petty. It is humble enough to want you to make it better. Usually these changes are gradual, and it takes the perspective of years to see them. Sometimes the change is more dramatic. Your class has seen both the gradual and the dramatic. The gradual change has come in increased consistency in clubs and activities, as Mrs. Park and your club advisors have worked for that goal. You have also brought back dances to Petty and helped design your own senior dance for 2 nights ago. And on the issue of student life, your student leaders have collaborated to make concrete suggestions for greater programming for student wellness. For your class in particular, however, we are more focused on the dramatic change. There is a dramatic, renewed appreciation for being together, learned from being apart. So great is that appreciation that, and you're going to love this, even family-style dinner, once a favorite example of time poorly spent, has more recently been spoken of with wistful yearning. So pardon me while I weep tears of joy for that realization. The game of Assassins, which previous classes have played with varied levels of enthusiasm, has been strategic, all-encompassing, extended, and almost euphoric for you. And on Thursday, you pranked us by putting together a slip and slide for anyone who wanted a cool break. I don't remember a senior prank being so generous and kind. Thank you. That should be a tradition that remains. In addition, how to build and support our diverse community more consistently and comprehensively has become a new focus, and your class has been part of that renaissance. Both gender dormitories and an all-gender housing option will be available next year for the first time. A part of the change through which you are living is that misanthropic behaviors and practices in our country and in others that used to be accepted are now being confronted and stopped. And voices and dreams that had been excluded are being included and celebrated. How to sustain this fundamentally humane, just, and, in light of the Constitution, patriotic work is an opportunity for all of us. As Amanda Gorman said earlier this year on Inauguration Day, the new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light if we're only brave enough to see it, if we're only brave enough to be it. Will Petty and the larger rivers to which Petty is but a tributary continue to change in that way? How to debate substantive issues without letting them descend into personal attacks was a skill you demonstrated this fall. How to use technology more effectively for in-person learning has been a lesson your teachers have learned and in fact pioneered this year. How to use Zoom for convenience rather than necessitary is another idea. Your arrival in 2017 was full of fun, cheers, POCO, face paint, and introductions, and it was an intense 3-day experience. This past fall, we adjusted for COVID reasons to make it a week. This coming fall, we'll keep that schedule for community reasons because it works so well. It is a tremendous pleasure to be together today and to welcome some friends and family. I'm thrilled that it's happening for you and that your commencement is the first, well, thank you, Daniel Breland, second major gathering since March 2020. Polonius's well-known advice to Laertes, this above all, to thine own self be true, which is the minor premise of my argument, is a reminder to a young person, ironically, going off to university, that you risk sincerity and honesty when you betray your conscience. Of course, the play reveals that not only young people face this risk. As I have suggested, instead of disappointing yourselves by succumbing to that cynicism, you reacted to each other's presence and you seized the opportunity to, in the words of Andrew Marvell, roll all your strength and all your sweetness up into one ball, which was this spring term. Some of you were overwhelmed with happy emotion when you returned for this term. Others took longer to understand what a gift this term might be. But your diverse personalities, backgrounds, and approaches helped your class move as one to a fabulous finish. The moment of truth was being in community those 4 days, from the Battle of the Heads through the visit from the talented and hardworking Breland. I remember looking at you that night thinking, they've really done it? And it's fabulous. From those days forward, you have been committed, creative, and magnificent, bringing palpable joy and appreciation to our last 4 weeks. Amidst media commentary on how many milestones of a senior year you and your classmates around the country lost, the Petty class of 2021 focused this year, and especially this spring, on how much you might be able to do despite the pandemic. You never stepped away and checked out. You never gave up. It was apparent everywhere, from your reinvestment in spring sports to live simulcast musical performances and art displayed in SWIG, in honors theater, creative writing capstone projects on the chapel steps, and evenings on center campus. As much as you have changed, as much as you have changed Petty, you have been true to your own generous inclinations, your optimistic outlooks, and your own entrepreneurial citizenship. The past 15 months have been one of the greatest challenges of my life, my professional life. I think many of my colleagues would say exactly the same, and in fact, they have. And finishing this year with your class has been a commensurately wonderful gift to counter those 15 months. Thank you. Next year, you'll have more freedom, and you'll prepare to study more purposefully in your chosen fields, or at least you'll begin choosing that field. And you'll continue to exceed assumptions of what's possible. But your sense of what is possible has been forever expanded by what you did at Petty and by the resplendent way in which you have finished. And so today is also a transition from accomplishment to ambition, from what you have done to the vision of what you might do. You prepare to begin anew once again, and may you rise to Amanda Gorman's soaring invitation. The rest of us are counting on it. One last request. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Everyone can close your eyes, but seniors, you have to close your eyes. I want you to think of being away from the sounds of trains, planes, and automobiles, away from the sounds of other kinds of technology, which, while it has certainly improved our lives, has not come without cost. And with your eyes still closed, I want you to think of being alone with the sounds of the earth. And I'd suggest to you there are three fundamental sounds we hear, sounds which every one of our ancestors heard, and sounds which existed before any person was alive to hear anything. And they are the sounds of the wind, the rain, and the thunder. You have shown yourselves to be citizens of change and heroes with hope. As you leave here to be out in the world, being entrepreneurial citizens in all the communities you join, may you nurture ideas like the rain nurtures life, bring change like the wind, and speak truth with the clarity of thunder. You can open your eyes. So thank you, congratulations, good luck, and come back as often as you can. Thank you. It's now my privilege to invite to the podium Manya Kaushik, the valedictorian of the class of 2021.
Good morning. Welcome to everyone online and here in person, faculty and staff, parents, families, and of course, the class of 2021. Who would have thought that after all of this, we would actually get to be under this tent for graduation? Even though we may not all be here in person, it is amazing that we have this opportunity to celebrate our collective accomplishments together. I want to start by acknowledging something that all of us are feeling in this moment. Our class has had it hard. We've experienced a lot of uncertainty, which has led to a lot of justified frustration and anger. So I don't want to brush over the fact that we had to go through a global pandemic that changed the course of our last 2 years here, because in the end, it affected all of us. But I do want to use our time here as a learning experience, rather than only focusing on the negative things that happened. The last time I remember being at Petty when it was truly normal was during winter finals week of our junior year. I remember eating 2 pints of ice cream with my friends while we filled up whiteboards with push timelines. I remember my last PFS meal with over 10 people at a table sharing frozen yogurt and seaweed salad. And I remember leaving campus for spring break, excited to have time to relax. But then, we didn't return for at least 5 months. When and if we did return, we had to adapt to a new normal at Petty. In hindsight, our time at Petty has flown by. It feels like just a few days ago, we were timid freshmen standing in huddles in the Vaughn for the Poco party, eating Nina's waffles and playing Just Dance. Flash forward a little bit, and now we're sitting under this tent, and we will be getting our diplomas in just a few minutes. But filling this span of time are moments and moments that have shaped us into the people we are right now. While we all have regrets, like missing our last full Blair Week and Blair Day, and not getting to use the seniors' first privilege, we've truly made the most of everything we've had here on campus and online. This includes 2 headmasters' holidays, College T-shirt Day, Fall Blair Day with online games, and my personal favorite, Heads Day, to name a few. We've been lucky to be able to return to school and have some quasi-normal times on campus. But the pandemic has also forced us to create new ways to come together as a community. So we've had the spring play in an outdoor theater and creative or outdoor SNAs such as s'mores and campfires and virtual and in-person chapels that keep everyone connected. These events are clearly different from previous ones we've had, like Broadway trips on packed buses and movie shuttles, but it's allowed us to get closer to one another and find comfort and fun through unfamiliar ways. Despite all of the challenges, our class has demonstrated resilience and spirit. This spring, we've played wiffle ball and volleyball on center campus, watched senior arts performances under the outdoor tents, walked through SWIG and looked at honors thesis artworks, and watched track meets and sports games to support our fellow classmates. Even though these were all past traditions that had to be adapted, we were able to make them our own and bring the energy of senior year that we have all been looking forward to for the past 4 years. Just like me, I know that many of you are excited to be heading to college, as it is an exciting new start. While the idea of a fresh start suggests that we are closing our petty chapter, what we have experienced and learned here will continue to shape us as people as we move forward. So, what have we learned? First, we have discovered that life is unpredictable and that things don't always work out as we hope. But through this, we have learned to value instead the relationships we have fostered throughout our time here, rather than crying over results that we don't have control over. Thinking back to freshman year, I remember having a pop quiz during our second week of humanities. None of our class was prepared, and this was shown pretty clearly through our scores. I personally did not do too well, and I remember the stress permeating throughout the classroom when the quiz was handed back. We all were upset over our results, but did nothing to change them. Now, I know if any of us were put in a similar situation, although we would have momentary fear, we would also be able to look at the problem in perspective and fix it, rather than just mourning our bad scores. Furthermore, we would work together as a unit, a whole class, to all collectively do better. Junior and senior year, I've spent hours in library study rooms or on Zoom studying for tests and exams with both some of my closest friends and some people I didn't know very well. But we were able to come together and help each other for this common purpose, which helped develop our relationship with each other. Secondly, we have realized the importance of grabbing opportunities when they arise. While staying inside and finishing up that one math assignment or studying an extra few hours for that one APUSH test may have seemed worth it a year ago, I regret not spending more time with my friends. I always said, senior year, I'll do this, or I just need to do this one more assignment before putting away my homework, but the excuses never ended, and I ended up missing some fun moments due to schoolwork. We have learned to live more in the moment, and now there is no hesitancy to go get a slice of pizza from Menino's or a cup of ice cream from Four Boys during the day. We're willing to drop our homework and go watch the track meet that's happening on campus, or to go watch the Honors Theater Showcase on a school night. I have made it a priority to be at every event or outing that I could be this spring, because I wanted to make up for it now that I had the opportunity and realization that I should. Not only is spending time with each other now a clear goal, but supporting each other in our different activities and accomplishments is first priority. This brings me to our third lesson learned. We have recognized that Petty's community is genuinely supportive of one another. For me, this realization came at Blair Day Chapel during my junior year. I had never imagined myself as someone who would ever participate in a pep rally event, let alone play the tuba in one. But there I was, in front of the chapel, surrounded by people that I didn't know too well, clapping and encouraging me to continue. Playing the Eye of the Tiger with a total of 7 instruments and blue and gold dripping off me and my friends is one of my favorite Petty memories, and I'm grateful that you all supported me through it. I will never forget the feeling of finishing our performance, watching the confetti cannon go off, and looking out to see everyone in the chapel cheering. This willingness to support one another is something that we should all cherish about this community. This support for one another has been apparent in our class since quite literally day one in freshman musical. This prized tradition that acts as an entrance for each grade into the world of arts at Petty is a school favorite. The theater is always packed, and I've even ended up not having a seat and just standing in the back because of how many people are there. During our freshman year, we did the show Aladdin, and there were hours and hours of preparation that I saw go into this. Although I was not in the show, I was just as excited as everyone actually in it to see it. For me, just as an audience member, I could feel the support and love coming from the audience and our class to the actors. Performing for essentially the entire school after only being here a few months is a daunting task, but being part of Petty's community makes it 10 times easier because you know that everyone is going to support you. Not only are all the students encouraging, but the teachers here have a genuine interest in seeing their students succeed. As we all know, the college process can be extremely lengthy and exhausting, as it was for me, which makes it even more important to have a strong support system. I found this in my advisor, Mrs. Montgomery. She knew when all of my decisions came out and made sure to check in after every single one, whether in an email or in a conversation with me before class. She knew exactly what I needed to hear in each moment, even if it was not exactly what I wanted to hear. And when I got into my school of choice, she was one of the first people I told, because I knew that she was waiting almost as eagerly as I was. This kind of support is invaluable. She has advocated for me and pushed me to do my best, and without her, I would not be up on this stage. Every single student here has an advocate, whether it's a coach, a music teacher, or even another student. We've all needed someone to depend on, and we've also filled that role ourselves, which is what has made this community strong. Finally, we have determined that relationships are what matter most. We have learned to prioritize our friendships and those who support us, because at the end of the day, tangible things and successes are replaceable, but people aren't. During these past 4 years, I learned to be more confident in myself and my skills because of you all and this community, and I will carry this with me for the rest of my life. I would like to thank my family for always being there and supporting me through everything I do. I would like to thank my teachers for their kindness and support that led me and my classmates throughout the past 4 years and into the future. And finally, I would like to thank my friends here for everything they have done for me. I would not have made it through Petty without you, and I'm so grateful that I met you all here. COVID has shown us that the future is completely unpredictable, so live in the moment, don't wait. Our class has had more than our fair share of challenges, but we're here today, so let's celebrate this special moment. Congratulations to us, the class of 2021. Thank you, and alla viva. Thank you.
It won't surprise you to know that everything's different, so we're just making sure we know what we're doing next. Measure once, measure twice, cut once, someone once said. We're about to begin the award of the recognition of people who've done distinguished things this year, and I will start with announcing the decision regarding the John Green and Allison Zader Prize, which is a prize donated by John and Allison on their departure to honor the non-teaching staff of the school for their tireless commitment to Petty. And this year, and the gift is an endowed gift, which allows the winner to designate income from that endowment to a certain project on campus this year. Given the unusual nature of this year, and the way it has been essential that everyone find ways to contribute, and everyone has contributed. It hasn't been possible to make a choice of one person to receive this honor and who have earned this designation. So we have decided to award the John Green and Allison Zader Prizes to the entire staff of the Petty School and leave it to them to decide how to use the income from the endowment. But I would ask you to rise in recognition of the amazing contributions of everyone who keeps this place running. Thank you.
I'm awarding two prizes. The first is the Dr. Wilbur Eddie Saunders Society Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching. This award is given by the class of 1947 to commemorate their 50th reunion and to honor Dr. Wilbur Saunders, Petty's revered headmaster from 1935 to 1949, whose leadership, integrity, strength of character, and generosity of spirit was an inspiration to students and faculty. A prolific early morning dog walker, this year's recipient frequented Petty's campus long before becoming a Petty faculty member. For years, we asked him to apply. Classroom teacher and 3-season varsity coach, this faculty member keeps a low profile, quite close to the waterline, in fact. He is a model colleague, welcoming feedback, sharing lesson ideas, and offering spring electives that belie his tranquil nature. This spring, for example, he taught a course on vampires. A superb coach and deceptively fierce competitor, his athletes, though often undersized relative to their peers, consistently realize their potential through their own hard work and the careful preparation and clear communication of their head coach. The same can be said of his classroom teaching. The 2021 graduating class awards this year's Saunders Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching to Joe Murtaugh. The Morris G. Fredman Prize, endowed by Morris G. Fredman, class of 1909, and awarded this year to the 2 seniors having the highest standing. This year's valedictorian is Manya Kaushik. This year's salutatorian is Stu Baker.
Another award that goes to an adult, and we'll do this before we turn to the student prizes, is the Finn M. W. Casperson Above and Beyond Award. That's an award given to a member of the faculty, a teaching employee of the school, who has gone above and beyond what anyone could expect in the support of his or her students. and I would say in entirely separate decisions, but reached following the same logic, even though we had nominations generously submitted by the the Petty Parents Association, and I will be sharing the text of those nominations with each of the recipients of those nominations. It seems that it would be disingenuous to say that our success this year could be defined by only those people, and especially, I would say, our success over the past 2 years. So instead, this year, the school is going to commission a plaque to be permanently installed in Annenberg Hall, recognizing the exceptional commitment of the faculty during the past 2 years as they brought us through the academic program, the advising, the coaching, and the student life aspects of the experiences of the class of 2020 and class of 2021. Colleagues of mine, your efforts were extraordinary, and your success was remarkable and historic, and thank you very much. And now to prizes voted for members of the class by the general faculty. This is a painstakingly and thorough process that takes several weeks, engineered and led by Ms. Wood, who's done a fabulous job in bringing this together, and especially during a time when we couldn't be in person, to use technology to have a really thoughtful and probative process. I'm grateful to her. We all are. On behalf of the full faculty, it is my honor to present the school prizes, the first of which is the Matthew R. Weiner Class of '98 Award. This award is presented to the Petty Senior whose integrity, determination, compassion, leadership, and courage epitomize his or her ambitious pursuit of excellence in scholarship, in athletics, and in life. A dedicated competitor and loyal teammate, a generous leader and fierce competitor. He's the spirit and conscience of his teams. A joyful student guided by curiosity and delightful corniness. His intentions are magnanimous and his scholarship impeccable. Aiden's ability to connect, encourage, and deliver is necessary and deeply appreciated. For dedication governed by humility and guided by humor and sense, the Matthew R. Weiner Award goes this year to Aiden Loughran. The Dr. Henry Kissinger Award for Citizenship and Diplomacy. Established by the Helfet family in honor of the visit of Dr. Kissinger to Petty, this prize is awarded to that senior who, during his or her tenure at Petty, has demonstrated a mature sense of citizenship and diplomacy, advanced understanding throughout the Petty community. A young woman of welcome and warmth, of admirable and infectious drive, whose convictions and decency encourage daring and mettle. Banu is a marvel and a change maker who fosters activism, civility, and unity, while building morale and responsibility. For her infectious spunk and her enviable goodwill, the Kissinger Award for Citizenship and Diplomacy goes to Banu Chipurapalli. The Ingersoll Honor Prize, established by John Campbell, class of 1916, a cup awarded to that student who has shown the greatest development and improvement while at Petty. From a clever but inconsistent freshman who didn't try quite hard enough, quite often enough, to a resourceful, astute scholar who chose humor and generosity to create balance and a following. Chris is open to advice and criticism. He used false starts and reflection to deepen his scholarship and chase his curiosity and polish his humor. Along the way, he embraced a confidence born of resilience and grit. This year's Ingersoll Honor Prize goes to Christopher Neptune. The Walter H. Annenberg Honor Award. A plaque retained at the school and a cup awarded to that student exemplifying the greatest devotion and service to the school. Dynamic and inclusive, this quote-unquote self-admitted science nerd is a thoughtful and complex student whose smarts, creativity, and vision celebrate our humanity and inspire harmony among us. As an actor, visual artist, social justice activist, and history wonk, Neha is a wildly creative influencer, a magnetic and magnanimous leader in kindness, daring, and reinvention. The Annenberg Honor Award goes to Neha Satish Kumar. The Parents Association John Green Prizes. Endowed by the Parents Association to honor John Green, Petty's 15th head of school, the John Green Prizes are awarded to that male and female members of the senior class who excel in sportsmanship, conduct, scholarship, and character. And I'm going to ask you to hold your applause till I read both of them. Energetic intellectuals, deft architects of contagious spirit, they are inspirations of enthusiasm and enterprise. These electric citizens are devoted to their teams and ensembles, to the exercise of spontaneity and practice, and to the power of versatility. Will's crafty knack for getting us all on board, and Paige's unflappable energy and guts have created for us a community of trust and fearlessness. Together, their creativity and play, graciousness and spunk honor our values and amplify our mission. And this year, the John Green Prizes go to Paige Pekenis and William Peepsack. And then I get one. The Wyckoff Honor Prize, a cup endowed by the family of William W. Wyckoff, class of 1895, in his memory to that member of the senior class who has completed the work of the junior and senior years at the school, and who, in the judgment of the faculty, unites in the highest degree the three most important elements of success: ability, character, and attainment. It is the wish of the donor that the prize shall be awarded to a student of moral integrity, high rank in scholarship, and the natural qualities that warrant future success. The student shall also show a marked spirit of loyalty to the best tradition of the school. This is Petty's highest student award. A young scholar of good humor and optimism, he is a wellspring of curiosity, a community MVP, and a devoted explorer of song and service. Refreshingly polite and genuinely invested, he is a polymath of goodwill and leadership, who behaves with integrity and warmth, caring for others and petty in kind. Stu will no doubt receive the highest prize the school bestows with trademark humility and glee. His infectious spirit and enormous impact encourage all of us to be gracious ambassadors, curious and collaborative learners, and better, kinder citizens of the world. The Wyckoff Honor Prize for the class of 2021 is awarded to Stuart Baker. So now we're ready to do it. Okay? We're honored to be joined by Board Chair Emeritus Elizabeth Silverman, who has come to help give the diplomas, Ms. Rodrigue, and Dr. Venanzi.
I'm behind the curtain.
Oh, that's clever. So you're going to be disembodied?
Yeah, I'm back here, don't worry.
This is so white. All right, well, here we go. So when you're going to come up, and when you're here, just make sure you pause for a picture, and we are requesting no masks for the picture so we can see your smiling pearly whites. Yeah.
But you got to be out there. Way out there. Keep going.
There we go, like this.
Yeah, that's
I'm always out there.
But they're going to come from that side first, so.
It's going to be hard since Sarah can't see it.
Maya Ademilola. Harry On. Inez Hanen Amir. Stuart Charles Baker. Ria Bakshi. Michael Benedetto. Avery Claire Mary Best.
You're fine. You don't take my.
Isha Bandaru. Mehek Barjwa. Aaron Delaney Louise Blair. Taylor Blunt. Eliana Paige Borstein. Shannon Grace Boyle.
No. It's actually, it's reversed. Sally, just trade when you do that. I think you guys got it reversed.
Benjamin Ronald Broach. Amaris Christina Marie Calhoun. Ivy Chow. Melissa Chow. Zaid Charles. Banu Chi Parupali. Meghna Chityala. Clara Sunwoo Choi. Jalen Michaela Coburn. Jackson Cook. Ashling Nora Bridget Creed. Nikita Dahia. Andrew Holden Davis. Thomas Alexander DeGray. Trent Edward DeVivo de Mesa. Christopher Michael Dindino. Tracy Nguyen Lee Ni Do. Christopher Brian Dory. Priscilla Rose Emma. Alana Grace Ermaeus. James Michael Famulero. Similolua Falani. Julia Hannah Finkel. Zara Pearl Fitzgerald. Evander Bolivar Fortenbar. Jinkai Kite Fu. Howard Fung. Lauren Mackenzie Gabrook. Aranza Alexandra Galvin. Mia Beatrice Goldstein. Kaya Ding Gorsline. Erin Catherine Griegel. Yulia Gu. Sanketh Sri Sai Gudapati. Thea Young Gunlak. Nathan Charles Hale. Labina Sophia Hanif. Madison Grace Hardiman. Yasmin Yankee Haruna. Harrison Adam Hearing. Maya Jean Ann Hilaire. Toma Shan Soyama Hirose. Nathan Felix Ho. Julia Rose Horton. Elizabeth Joyce Hu. Shangzi Slade Hyong. Benny Eli Jimenez. Zalai Amy Jin. Amaya Christina Jones. Damian Peter Juth. Krishna Kakani. Island Kurigzolu. Nellie Karn Barisati. Lindsay Catherine Kartaz. Manya Kaushik. Rohan Kichlu. Hani Kim. Taylor Julian Knox. Madison Hope Kowal. Sanya Kumar. Hannah Lee. Linz Nicholas Lee. Aiden Joseph Loughran. Mary Frances Lynch. Ethan Madden. Nivriti Isha Mantha. Joseph John Manzari. Catherine Elaine McClellan. Aiden Orion McHugh. Leo Dennis Michaels. Clara Beatrice Middleton. Teresa Danielle Montalbano. Miles Xavier Mosley. Griffin Robert Mulcahy. Samuel Eli Murphy. Mira Grace Narayan. Christopher Quincy Neptune. Ana Apemepo Praise Obolanle. Zachary Omar. Ekene Chinelo Owuna. Paige Elizabeth Pekenis. David Park. Rahet Kaur Patheja. Mira Pawali. Sophia Phelan. Will Peepsack. Michael Albert Ponenti.
Okay, I got it.
Matthias Pradani. Andrew Arison Quinn. Ella Jane Radigan.
Thank you, Ellen.
Nick Radkoff. Emily Love Robertson. Kennedy R. Robinson. Anastasia Samoilova. Neha Satish Kumar. Nick Shah. VJ Richard Shaw. Amartya Sharma. Killian Atticus Shelley. Lucia Shen. Hangshu Sam. Loie Hayun Shim. Arthur M. Slusarshuk. Finn Topher Stanley. Margot Rose Steinhauser. Forbes Sue. Violetta Suarez Perez. Olivia Marie Testa. Avi Zen Thanawala. Rachel Thomas. Isaiah Thompson. Rhea Marie Tonelli. Rachel Oy. Midi Vella. Sophia Catherine Vizzoni. Jason Anthony Williams Johnson. Marlon Emmanuel Wise Jr. Ming Chung Wong. Emily Yang. Suyu Michael Ye. Catherine Grace Yonan. Junbo Yu. Ayana Lila Zaveri.
The class of 2021. Okay. I'd ask you to remain standing for the alma mater, which you may sing at your discretion.
I ask that we turn to the divine. God in heaven, we ask that you comfort these young people, be a grace to them and their families. And all of us, lift a peace and carry it into the world, know a joy and express it to the world, especially today. Congratulations.
We have a recessional today.